Ah, there we go. Yo, yo, we in here. We are in the building. Yeah. Oh, give me a moment. Yeah. Had to pick up the old phone. Drop that joint. What's good with y'all out there? How was everybody doing? How was everybody doing? What is going on? Let me know that the volume's good on y'all end. I'll be doing what I usually do. I'll watch chat via phone. Mike Carter, Emmanuel Briggs in the building. So we are we're going to touch a few things in this live stream. A couple based on questions I got. Another one based on something that I figured I would throw out there because it's a big deal right now, which is the student loans. So I figured, yeah, I want to make sure I go over that. Let's get today's water in Mountain Valley Whole Foods joint. Let's see if we can get the old label in there, which is this box right here. Yeah, that box shows you the parts per million mineralized water straight out the spring. Some spring waters you do not get this. Those are usually the ones that are not that high of quality. So Humboldt manifests what it be like. RTP in the building. So that's the water for the day. For this stream, the food of choice will be the berries that I just dropped. Wipe that off the computer before that starts acting crazy. I got a bowl of strawberries and blueberries too. The workout food of champions. Barbara Saunders in the building. So you already see I got one of the articles up on the screen. Before I get to that article, I don't know if he's here. I should actually send him a message, but Google Me is in the building. You guys know him as Moon Rocker. I'm going to text him because being down here in the ATL area, we got to go to the bar park and do a little bit of a workout. And I got a video for you guys to check out. And then I will go into the infrared therapy. Then I will go into the fiber. So I'll drop a message and see if Amber's around, because that was a question that I got from her to re-go over that. And then we'll hit the clarity on the student loan thing, because that's such a big deal. So hopefully y'all ready for that. Telling live right now. I'm gonna play the video. So Moon Rocker will know what's popping. And let's see. Amber in the building. Let's see. Live now. Other stuff too. All right, let me know how y'all doing out there on this. Well, down here it's like on and off rain and sun, but you know that's that down south kind of stuff, right? So yeah, that is what it is. So I'm gonna be pretty busy today between doing this and still deciding if I want to hit the gym today and do a little chest. I'm still a little sore from being in the bar park last week and then hitting chest a couple of days later after the recovery. So we'll see. But that student master is in the building. I know Inky was live. I didn't want to like have you guys like going back and forth, so I'm glad I caught Inky while he was streaming and it didn't trickle on over into the time I'd already set up. I actually set this live stream up like 4 hours ago and forgot to put the thumbnail up on it, so I didn't get the thumbnail on it till a couple of hours ago. All is well with Barbara Saunders. So what brought this about? I know it's kind of weird seeing student loans in there, but that's why I called the video Cleaning Up, because the content is about cleaning up. It's about what the exercising does, the infrared, which I have on the screen right there. The student loans about cleaning that up, if possible, right? Because I'm going to go over the details of who it's possible for. I'm going to talk about fiber, which also connects to fasting, cleansing, that whole thing. So we're just talking about the cleaning up. Hold on, guys. Let my brother know. Yeah, that was the brother. He had to tell him I'm live. We live. We lit. Uh, what is my recovery meals? I always start with berries, or I do a green juice, or a smoothie. I don't go like extra heavy on protein. That kind of comes later in the day. I kind of allow my body to like clean out first. Like I like to work out and then wait. I don't eat before I work out. My common day. Said it's back. Was there a sound issue? Oh yeah, I cut off my sound because my brother called me on the phone. So I made sure. If you guys see this mic go dark, that's the sound going out. Like this mic actually lights up. So when I tap the top, you see how the color went dim? That means that I'm doing something else. Yeah, that was me talking to my brother. That's why you guys couldn't hear me. But yeah, I this is something I learned from Inky a long time ago, and I followed this pattern for a long time. So I'm generally a morning person, but I don't usually eat in the morning. Now that's normal to me, so it makes the strategy that Inky brought up a little simpler for me. But I wake up. The gym is usually the first thing I do. If, in the past I was doing Uber too. So I would do Uber when I woke up for about 4 hours. Then I would go to the gym. And I'd be at the gym for about 2 hours, sometimes more if I'm like talking with my old heads and my friends. And somewhere around 1 and 2 o'clock is when I would start eating. And that meal could be light or heavy. If I'm home for the day, like I'm back in the apartment right now because I'm in ATL. So when I'm back home from working out, any form of fruit, or oatmeal or smoothie. And I'll thanks. And I'll take that down. Berries are excellent when you are finished working out. So just remember that. Grab some berries. Berries are huge. Put it in a smoothie, whatever. Berries are huge, especially blueberries. And again, I got some articles for you guys, so I'll be reading you some stuff for you to check out. You can always see the URL or the link or the web address at the top. Like if you look at the article I got now, the web address is at the top. A little long, but you can actually just put the title in if you want to search it. But yeah, I would do that, and then my next meal would be my last meal. It would usually be some type of heavy meal with more juice. I would not do a smoothie twice in a day unless I wasn't eating a heavy meal. Then I might do a smoothie towards the nighttime. And my last meal is usually between 6 and 8 o'clock. It goes up and down. But I try and make sure I've eaten 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed. And that time period I learned from Dr. Laila Africa. To not... Now, I naturally don't like having food in my stomach going to bed. I'm naturally like that. But the 3 to 4 hour period was something I learned from Layla Africa, because when you guys get all your nutrition throughout the day, remember, when you eat, it takes a certain amount of time to digest, separate things out, and then your body has this bank of proteins, carbs, and all kinds of stuff, right? And when you have that bank of everything, when you go to sleep and you're no longer having to digest, and when we say digest, that means moving it from the stomach down into the small intestine. Because remember, when you get the food in, it hits the stomach first, and then the nice cycle of it's like a washing machine cycle, but it's a bunch of different acids that hits the food. And once it hits the food, that is what helps break it down outside of you chewing first. A lot of chewing creates the bolus, as they call it, and then the chyme goes down. You get this sloshing and mixing of acids and food to break it down even further. So when you chew good, you help that out and you speed digestion. So you get the saliva and the enzymes and stuff mixing in with the food. You create the bolus. You swallow that down. It hits the stomach. The acids hit it, break it down even further. Then as that sludgy mix moves through your body, the different parts of your intestine, small intestine, large intestine, and that kind of breaks down. The small intestine breaks down into three. That's the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum. As it slides through different parts of that digestive tract below the stomach, your body's able to pull and grab things out of it. And that's going to be your bank, so to speak, okay? And that's your bank of minerals that when you go to sleep, your body can pull from those things and build your body up. If your body has to do a bunch of digestion while you're asleep, then the healing and the building never really happens the way it should, okay? So keep that part in mind. The art of life is in the building. Would it be like? Thinker, would it be like in the building? So just keep those parts in mind. Chew first. Peristaltic motion, right? That wave, that's a peristaltic wave. That's what your body's doing to push food, right? That starts the wave when you swallow, hits the stomach, acids, turns into a whole bunch of like just stuff, right? You just got all this mixture, this goop, right? And that starts moving through the small intestine, and as it moves through the small intestine, the materials get grabbed up by the little villi or the fibers along the small intestine, and they start pulling things in until it reaches the large intestine. And then you get between the large intestine and the colon, you get some reabsorption of water based on what the kidneys have figured out in terms of what's in the waters that's in your body. It determines what it needs to keep, what it needs to kick out to keep you balanced. And then certain things come out, certain things get reabsorbed back in. Okay? That's your general, that's your, that's kind of like warming you guys up for what's to come. Okay. So now let's hit it. Moonrocker, I hope he got the message. Oh, there he is. He's in here. Moonrocker in the building. Yeah. Y'all see my Arnold up top. Yeah, come on. So I'm going to play the video. Me and Moonrocker hanging out at the park, doing some stuff. And then we're going to get right back at it. And we're going to talk about infrared therapy to get it cracking right after the video. So, all right, guys, check it out. I'm going to mute mic unless I want to talk, right? Bring this volume down some. And if the sound is an issue, just let me know. Excellent try in the building. So I'm going to play the video. It should have music only. There won't be any other sounds because some of the guys had music playing in the background, and that'll get our video cut if I play that. So I put my own free YouTube music behind the video. All right, here we go. So yeah, this is the point where we're doing like heavy supersets. So you guys can tell that the fatigue is setting a little bit between the beginning of the video and where we are now. Because the pull-up and push-up sets they were doing are not, they're not beginner type stuff. Like a lot of people cannot even do 10 pull-ups. So they're doing somewhere along the lines of between 12 and 15 pull-ups. A superset would nearly double the push-ups. And they're doing them in 2 set maxims. So the workout is definitely not easy. So just keep that in mind, all right? And everybody say what's up, the Moonrocker. That's him in the background with the maroon tank top on, right there, like coming up on the left side. So that's him, and me and Moonrocker was getting it in last week. Now I do have a job that requires me to do mechanic work, so I couldn't go as hard as they could because a lot of these exercises are grip based. And if you do a grip based job like I do, mechanic work as your regular job, cars or machinery, You can't do too many grip exercises because you can wind up with carpal tunnel. So you got to be careful with that. So there I am right there. You see me doing some work. I like deadlifts and pull-ups because they help keep the spine straight and they give you a stronger lower back. So that's very important. All right. Oh yeah, excellent try. Yeah, we got some muscles under that skin. We're not small by any means. I think at this point in the video, that's Raka hitting I think that was the 15 and 30, 15 pull-ups and the 30 push-up. I think that was the superset right there. Oh yeah, had to, you know I was coming down here. I'm glad we got the link up. Unfortunately, I mean, it might still happen, but I didn't get the link up with Derek yet. But you guys got to see me and Derek on Inky's video, hanging out in New York. So I'll catch up with Derek again, and I'll be down here again at some point because there's a lot of training that happens in this area. So I'll be down here at least 2 or 3 more times just on the sheer training, but they're split apart by quite a few months. So that's right. Come on, pull it up. Where are you? How much juice do you have left in the muscles? Look at the smooth pull-up action. You gotta look up, look high. Get me back in here. The visuals back in here. Yeah, push up, push it up. Come on, where are you? Oh yeah, Moon, we never got to do maybe I don't know, maybe during a weekday we'll figure it out if we can this week, if it's possible. I wanted you to get a video you doing the 60 and 60. Yes, we do there is a slow coordinated rep. My rule of thumb when I train people is always during the exertion phase, move fast on the exertion, meaning if you're doing a pull up fast and come down slow. If you're benching, push up fast, come down slow. If you're doing a push up, you know, you will come down slow and push up fast. So the exertion phase, you know, that's where you want to put most of your work. And we got Cobra, that was Cobra right there, old head, resident old head getting it in. That's right, the shirt has come off. Now we got to do it correctly. More pull-ups and more push-ups while you at home. So yeah, if you guys ever hang out at the bar parks, it's calisthenics work, right? So you're not, yeah, there we are right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, getting it in. Yeah, so I definitely appreciate him hitting me up and us being able to go out in the park and get it in. It's always good to be able to travel around and meet up with different people in the family, and that's what I continue to plan on doing. I hope you guys are doing the same. I know some of my squad out in New York and Texas and all that, they used to link up with each other when they would be in certain areas. So yeah, just like I have we have the Urban Nerds channel too, the same concept applies. You buy the gear, you do something that helps build your community. It's not something you're starting to do. If it's something you're already doing and you got the shirt, then you're representing. And when we go from state to state and we see you, then we know that's family right there. And this is the little things that it takes to build us up, to feel like we're not alone either in life or in the digital world. Like, because digital is digital until it becomes real. And when we see each other in real life and we meet up with each other and we make things happen, that's where it becomes real. Because digital is what it is. It's digital. We can support each other digitally, cash apps and videos and information and all that. But when we meet and get the energy in reality, that's where the true magic happens, because that's where you don't truly feel like you're alone in the fight, so to speak. So that's the cool part about that. All right. Now let's get into some information. The reason that I have the infrared therapy and then coming up after that is the fiber portion is because they go well with workout. Now, I have a mixture of gym and outdoor workouts, depending on the weather and depending on where you live. If you live in a warm climate and you have outdoor workout centers, that's by far, grab you some weights, a jump rope, gloves, and all that stuff, by far the best way to do it. I'd say 75% of your workouts or more should definitely be outdoors, especially when the sun is out, getting that sun work, getting your feet on the ground and grounding while you're doing the workouts. That's maximum effort in the way that you really want to do it. When you're doing your workouts, You should be, in terms of building the muscle in your body, you should be hitting above 60% of your 60% or more of your maximum amount of weight. So if you can bench press 200 pounds, you cut it by about 40%, you come down to 160, and that's where your reps should lie as a decent heavy weight. When the weight starts to get lighter, you're not telling your body it needs to grow. So depending on how much pressure you put on your body, the muscles grow to a certain point. If the pressure is too low, like you get on the treadmill and you just jog all the time, you're asking to lose weight, not gain muscle, because jogging tells your body you want to go far and not get stronger. And when that happens, your body's going to find ways to lose weight, not to build muscle. So you'll be able to run further, but you'll be lighter. You won't have as much muscle. Whereas if you put on like a weighted vest and you run, now you're putting resistance against your body, and your body doesn't want to break under the pressure. So what it's going to do is it's going to toughen your bones and toughen your muscles. As long as you have the nutrition in place, it can use those materials to chisel and hammer, more meat and more muscle and more bone and all kinds of stuff into your body. Your mitochondria amount in your body will expand so you can digest more calories to fuel the muscle. But if you're just losing weight, there's no muscle to fuel. So eating a lot more calories is going to make you just gain the weight right back. So losing weight makes you gain the weight right back real fast, whereas gaining muscle, your muscles are fueled by the food you eat. And the bigger the muscle, the bigger the fuel source must be, which maintains the muscle as long as you continue to do workouts, at least anywhere from a 1 to 2 week period on those big muscles. Okay? All right. Let's do infrared, and then let's do fiber. So I got the article right here, and I'm going to read from it. You guys are seeing on the screen. I got a secondary screen over here. So this article here, let's get to the meat. Infrared therapy is a new, innovative, light-based method to treat pain and inflammation. Okay? Now, the soreness from a workout, that's inflammation. Okay? If you're feeling like a hardened pain when you're doing your workout, you need to stop. It's not supposed to be a hardened pain. Soreness is fine. And just so you know, when you are sore after the workout, your body actually rebuilding itself off that soreness eats more calories. So if you burn like, let's say 700 calories in a workout, your body may use an additional 300 or 600 calories over the next couple of days to actually repair you. So you're actually damn near double burning your calories. So when you stack your workouts and don't keep using the same muscle group, so maybe Monday is legs, Tuesday's back, Wednesday's chest, Thursday's arms, and Friday can be shoulders if you want, right? Or you can keep that on the arm day and only do 4 days a week, or you put the shoulders on the 5th day and do 5 days a week. The portions of cardio, which could be calisthenics, HIIT training and all that, and the treadmill stuff, should go hand in hand with your weighted workout. That's how you can maintain lung capacity and gain strength at the same time. Kind of a military-like thing, right? All right. So it says, unlike ultraviolet light, which can damage the skin, think melanin, right? Melanin slows down that ultraviolet light, breaks it down so that your body can use it so you don't get damaged as fast. It would take a long time for the damage to hit because your melanocytes have the ability to step down the radiation levels and use it for energy. All right. Infrared light enhances cell regeneration, right? Because we just broke our muscles down. We want to regenerate, okay? It is delivered to the site of injury or inflammation at certain wavelengths, promoting cell repair. I believe the wavelength of the infrared light you want to have is between 810 and 830 nanometers. Check me on that. All right. The key characteristic of infrared light is its ability to penetrate even the deep layers of skin, providing better pain relief. Also, infrared light is safe, natural, non-invasive, and painless. Thus, it may be able to provide a broad range of health benefits. Now, mind y'all, this science is not new. It is very old. Those of you who study the electromagnetic spectrum probably ran into this a while ago. All right. Why is it widely used today? Fields of medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, autoimmune diseases, to name a few. It's safe and natural, which enables it to be offered as an alternative treatment for various health conditions like muscle pain, joint stiffness, and arthritis, to name a few. It has many roles in the human body on its own. It includes detoxification, right? We're getting there. We're cleaning up, right? Pain relief, reduction of muscle tension, workout, relaxation, stress, depression, anxiety, improved circulation, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, weight loss, skin purification, blemishes, rosacea, those kinds of things. Lowered side effects of diabetes. I just mentioned that. Boosting of the immune system. Makes sense for today's world, right? And lowering of blood pressure. Just mentioned that. Let me see. Make sure y'all ain't saying that. Not into BioStrath yet. I'll take a look at that later. I feel like you might have mentioned that to me before, and maybe I didn't get to check it out yet. But I'll get into that at some point. I haven't looked that up, but I'll keep it in mind. All right, where are we at? Cardiovascular health. I'm going to just read through these because these are just details of it. Like I said, you guys can, let me see. Let me grab the article and let me dump it into the chat. Dump it into the chat for you guys so you have it. So you can check out the detailed section. So there's the article. I just placed that in the chat so you can check out. Because these are just headers, and I don't have to go through all of them, but you guys can. So I'm going to just scroll down so you can see what's there in terms of what's going on here. So the different categories that it helps out in: cardiovascular health, breathing, heart rate, pain and inflammation, muscular injuries, detoxification, potential cancer cure. And then they got a video there. What are the risks based on it? That's a category. And then there's some sources. And you see this NCBI, that's where you get your official articles from. That's where you can get your real, your real sciencey backed up type stuff, okay? So that's that. Now that we have that, we can switch over to fiber. But before I say fiber, right, not the easiest thing to find, but you guys can look up, see if you can find an infrared sauna. Because the sauna itself will help flush some of those toxins and things through your skin. Now, it does flush minerals too, so you got to make sure you have a good mineral regimen to keep the minerals coming into your body. You guys notice that the salt tears and things, they taste salty because they have minerals in them. So when you're sweating, you're removing mineral. And why would the body do that? Because water directly on the skin is just going to evaporate. When you get minerals on the skin, you get more of a structured water consistency, because now you have mineral and water, or solution and solute, right? So because you have that, when that sits on your skin, it maintains a longer level of hydration, especially that salty taste you got, those mineral salts. Those help your body maintain a certain water level. So when you sweat, that same maintained water level, that structured water, hits your skin to really help out. Mineralized water is more electrically active. So keep that in mind. It's not just, standard stuff, right? Okay, cool. You did mention it before. Kelvin Evans in the building. What it be like? All right. So, infrared sauna, the sweating outside of your workout, right? Because you're already working out. You're breathing, exhaling different toxins as a gas form. You're sweating. You're removing it as a liquid form. You're going to the bathroom, which is why we're going into fiber next. Elimination, perspiration, right? We got different ways of elimination. So the infrared light, so you got the sweating, helping removing impurities from the body, speeding that up. And you got the infrared light bringing the information in the body that helps bring cells back together in their proper form, so to speak, right? And that's what's going to promote your healing, right? Because infrared is like a signal that tells your body like what's proper for itself. It's what it needs. All right. Fiber, we got an article here on fiber. Before I read it, let you guys know that the information that I have, and then we'll clarify through the article. So what I'm speaking, I'm also showing. You can back that up. Two primary types of fiber: insoluble and soluble. Soluble fiber, SOLUBLE, is the type that can dissolve in water. That's what turns the water into a gel. When I was talking about you eating the food and the peristaltic wave starting, and you have, like, when you chew your food long enough, you get like this thick coating on top from the saliva. That thick coating is kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about getting fiber that's soluble. It'll turn the water into a gel state. So now imagine you got these villi fibers in your stomach, and it hits the stomach, right? And you get the acids, digest the food, it goes into the small intestine. And aligning that small intestine, large intestine and stuff is the little microvilli, these little finger-like projections. Instead of just water flying through there, just banging and running through real fast, now because of the fiber, you get a gel-like state, so it moves slower. leaving residues across the villi, which means any mineral content in there is easier to grab because it's slowed down. What else does it do? Slows digestion so sugars and things don't spike as fast, meaning you'll feel full longer. Okay? Then there's the other type of fiber, which is insoluble fiber. It's not broken down, but it adds bulk to the stools that you have when you go to the bathroom. That's a part. It's also like more slick too. So that's what helps you package. So you got the gelling form, which is soluble, and the non-gelling form, which is insoluble, but helps package things up so that it eliminates well when it comes out of the system. Okay? So those are the two primary types. The articles will begin to break down more information though. So let's go into the articles about fiber now, okay? Fiber is a type of carbohydrate, okay, that the body can't digest. And it's funny because they said that in a vacuum. So, because remember, they're soluble and insoluble, but we'll keep going. Though most carbohydrates are broken down into sugar molecules called glucose, fiber cannot be broken down into sugar molecules, and instead it passes through the body undigested. It helps regulate the body's use of sugars, helping to keep hunger and blood sugar in check. Listen to the details of the article. When people start asking things about what do I do about diabetes and blood sugar and things like that, the details in the article that people don't go deep enough and read, it's telling you this. It's been telling people this for a while. But we want to know we have a product that directly does something. But the products get easier to find and easier to use, and so does the food choices when you listen to the details of the articles, right? Because people are literally asking, oh, I got diabetes, got high blood pressure. It's telling you right here, helps regulate the use of sugar, helps keep hunger and blood sugar in check. Children and adults need at least 20 to 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day for good health, but most Americans only get about 15. Great sources are whole grains, whole fruits and vegetables, whole, not juice form, not smoothie form. Smoothie form ain't too bad though, because you're not really eliminating anything, you're just crushing what's there. So that's still fair, right? Legumes and nuts. Now, types of fiber. The article is now getting into this, right? Soluble fiber, which dissolves in water, can help lower glucose levels as well as lower blood cholesterol. Foods with soluble fiber include, listen closely, oatmeal. That is a heavy morning meal for me. And remember, it's called breakfast, meaning you break your fast. It doesn't mean it's an early in the day meal. It doesn't have to mean it's the first meal and the second meal and third meal. It could be the only meal. It's called break fast. You break your fast. That's what the meal is. So when people see you eating cereal 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's the first meal you had, or you're eating it supposedly at dinner, first meal you had, it means to break your fast. That's all it is. You don't have to centralize oatmeal and cereals and things like that to being a morning meal. Eat it whenever you're ready. It's high in fiber. It's good for you. Your body's not going to say, oh, I'm not supposed to have this in the morning. It doesn't work like that. All right? And it's, all right, so oatmeal, chia seeds, nuts, beans, lentils, apples, and what did I tell you I had when I first started the stream? Blueberries. Fiber down, baby. See? Now, insoluble fiber, the other type, which does not dissolve in water, can help food move through your digestive system, promoting regularity and helping prevent constipation. Constipation, based on what Dr. Laila Africa said, goes two ways. Yo, my brother's in the building. What are you doing here? Yeah. I told him to come through and say what's up to the family, but that's what's up, man. He's in the building. The brother is here. So those of y'all in the chat, feel free to say hi to Mike Burwell. That's my brother right there. He is a public speaker. He is also an ordained minister. He is a pastor. So man knows his stuff and is very good at speaking. So he can teach people how to be more forthcoming, so to speak, more bold in their speaking when they talk to crowds. Because he's been in what's it called? Toastmasters speaking competition. So you guys might be familiar with that, right? All right, so let's keep going. The fiber helps prevent constipation. There's two, like I said, Layla Africa said there were two types: constipation loose, constipation stiff. Either one is constipation. They might give them different names. You might say, I got the runs and all that stuff like that, right? But at the end of the day, it's two types: loose and hard. One type you're just not you're not binding things up, so things are just kind of going through like a running river. And the other kind, you're just not hydrated much within that digestive system, so things become tough to move out. There's a lot of straining, which can cause prolapsing of the colon where it flips inside out. You can wind up with other diseases from constipation, like if you guys ever heard of diverticulitis. And you can look up what the diverticulum is, which I believe is the curtain. You ever wonder why the acid in your stomach doesn't digest you? There's a curtain that drops down inside your stomach. And when that gets inflamed, I believe that is what's called the diverticulum. So when it's inflamed, it's diverticulitis. Okay? So keep that in mind. Pancreatitis, rheumatoid arthritis, or just arthritis. Remember that itis means inflammation. So it's a form of too much friction is causing things to swell, heat, redness, bleeding, different reasons. Like inflammation has its own definition, okay? So let's keep moving. Foods with insoluble fibers include whole wheat products, especially wheat bran, quinoa, brown rice, legumes, leafy greens like kale, almonds, walnuts, seeds, and fruits with edible skins like pears and apples. See? If you guys ever needed to build a food list that's going to help you cleanse and flush and do all those different things, you're getting one. It's kind of helping you. It's telling you. I got a bag of apples in here now. Even when I travel, I always go to the local Whole Foods or wherever, local farmer's market or whatever, and there's a bag of apples inside of the refrigerator right now. The berries for the after workout point, gotta have those. I got strawberries and blueberries here, but you can get raspberry, blackberry, different types, right? So that is your list of things that you can use to get your fiber in. Again, I'm going to read them all from both paragraphs. Soluble would be things like oatmeal, chia seeds, nuts, beans, lentils, apples, and blueberries. Insoluble, wheat products like wheat bran. Now, for some people, they have the wheat issue, but remember, there's different types of grains other than wheat. You got spelt, amaranth, and things like that. Quinoa's in the list. Wheat bran, quinoa, brown rice, legumes, leafy green vegetables like kale, almonds, walnuts, seeds, and fruits with edible skins like pears and apples. So again, soluble fiber helps gel things, and insoluble fiber helps bulking. So that'll help with your feeling full and your ability to eliminate when you have both. So you got the gel-like, which makes things slick, and you have the insoluble fiber, which helps with the packaging. When you put the two together, it helps things move smooth at a certain speed and come out. Not too fast, not too slow. Okay? So there you have it with that. And they got a whole bunch of, this was cool. They got this whole lot more information right here. Under the umbrella terms of insoluble and soluble fibers, you may see fiber described in other ways. It can be viscous with a gel-like quality, or fermentable because it acts as food for gut bacteria that break down and ferment it. Fibers that are not broken down by bacteria, called non-fermentable, travel intact to the colon and can add bulk and weight to the stool, so it is easier to pass. So you're sitting down, having issues going to the bathroom, it's taking too long, it's too dry, gotta push all the time. This answers that situation, okay? These products, these properties offer health benefits such as slowing down digestion, delaying blood sugar rising after meals, promoting healthy colonies of bacteria, or having a laxative effect. In addition, there are many subtypes of soluble and insoluble fibers, some of which occur naturally in plant foods and others that are synthetically made. The National Academy of Medicine defines fiber as dietary fibers, non-digestible carbohydrates, and lignins that occur naturally in plants. 2, functional fibers that are extracted from plants or synthetically made and are non-digestible with a beneficial health effect in humans. Some types of fiber fall into both categories, such as oligosaccharides. Search that. Make sure you guys in your studies look up oligosaccharides because they just gave you a reason. And resistant starches that may be naturally occurring or synthetically made. So, naturally occurring plant fibers, cellulose or hemicellulose, insoluble fiber found in cereal grains and cell walls of many fruits and vegetables, It absorbs water and adds bulk to stool, which can have a laxative effect. Lignans, insoluble fiber found in wheat and corn bran, nuts, flax seeds, vegetables, and unripe bananas that triggers mucus secretion in the colon and adds bulk to stools. It has a laxative effect. Beta-glucans, soluble, highly fermentable fiber found in oats and barley that is metabolized and fermented in the small intestine. Remember, I broke that down for you earlier in the actual live stream, so you'd be ready. I warmed you up. Acts as a prebiotic. Someone mentioned that in the chat, right? The Art of Life. Yep. Can add bulk to stool but does not have a laxative effect. May help to normalize blood glucose and cholesterol levels. Guar gum, soluble, fermentable fiber isolated from seeds. Has a viscous gel texture and is often added to foods as a thickener. It is metabolized and fermented in the small intestine, does not have a laxative effect, and may help to normalize blood sugar and cholesterol levels. Inulin, oligofructose, oligosaccharides, fructo-oligosaccharides, soluble fermentable fibers found in onions, chicory root, asparagus, and Jerusalem artichokes, may help to bulk stool with a laxative effect, normalize blood glucose, and act as a prebiotic. People with irritable bowel syndrome may be sensitive to these fibers that can cause bloating or upset stomach. All right, so remember, record the name of the article so you guys know it's a Harvard article. Pectins, soluble, highly fermentable fiber found in apples, berries, and other fruits. Minimal bulking or laxative effect due to its gelling properties. It may slow digestion and help normalize blood sugar and cholesterol levels. Resistant starch, soluble, fermentable fiber found in legumes, unripe bananas, cooked and cooled pasta, the potatoes that act as a prebiotic, adds bulk to stools but has minimal laxative effect, may help normalize blood sugar and cholesterol levels. I know you guys see potatoes. That does not mean French fries. Does not mean grease added and fried potatoes. Perhaps a boiled, mashed potato, sweet potato, yam, something like that. Yam being at the top of the list, right? And now here comes the manufactured functional fibers, some which are extracted and modified from natural plants. A video that I did before talked about the first one on the list. Psyllium, soluble, viscous, non-fermentable fiber extracted from psyllium seeds that holds onto water and softens and bulks stools. Has laxative effect and is an ingredient in over-the-counter laxatives and high-fiber cereals. May help to normalize blood sugar and cholesterols. I need you guys to be aware. It's an ingredient in over-the-counter laxatives and high-fiber cereals. Being an ingredient combined with other things creates different chemistry. So trying to find the actual item in a food item requires more study from you, because you may be combining an item that is positive with an item that is negative, thereby causing more problems or nothing to happen at all. Or perhaps you might be actually strengthening your resolve. You might actually be finding more happening than you thought would happen, right? So keep that in mind. Psyllium husk was one of the things that I was showing on the last stream. That was where I was putting the spoon in the cup after it held, once you put the psyllium husk inside the water, especially warm water, it gels fast. So if you wait a little while, you scoop it with a spoon and you notice it falls down really slow. It can get real thick depending on the ratios you use when you make it. All right. Polydextrose and polyols. Soluble fiber made of glucose and sorbitol, a sugar alcohol. It can create increased bulk stool and have a mild laxative effect. Minimal effect on blood sugar or cholesterol levels. It is a food additive used as a sweetener to improve texture, maintain moisture, or to increase fiber content. I can tell you already from reading that would not be one of my primary categories I would be using it for. Inulin, oligosaccharides, pectins, resistant starch, and gums. Soluble fibers derived from plant foods as listed above, but are isolated or modified into a concentrated form that is added to foods or fiber supplements. Okay? So, from that article, you guys, based on the explanation I gave you, the article I read, you guys have a lot right there. The most common thing you're noticing is huge amounts of fiber come from natural plant-made objects. Fruits, beans, nuts, seeds, leaves, all those kinds of things. You notice, meat ain't on that list. It's not on there because eating meat has no fiber. And when you put things in your body that has no fiber, your body has to fight hard to get it out, which means it creates inflammation and uses some of the minerals in your body to help get it out. So this is why those of you who play sports, who have high meat-based diets, or just can't stop themselves from eating meat, you need to put lots of fiber with it, because it does not come with it, which means it's something you're putting in your body that doesn't have a mechanism to push it out. Nature does that. Nature has a way of giving you the nutrition that your body needs to rebuild, the water to move it around, and the fibers for grip strength, the ability to keep things flowing through. Okay? So your body tends to get the things that come in nature, and it has all of the necessary components for your body to be able to receive it, take what it needs from it, remove what's left over. That's what plants tend to do. Okay? Fiber. Gotta have a fiber. Does that mean eat meat every day and eat tons of meat because you're having a bunch of fiber with it? That is up to you. I do not recommend that. Okay? Because remember, meats are already questionable. You don't kill the animal, and most people who do kill the animal or see animals get killed, that takes away the want, for somebody to actually want to eat it. I'm finding that's true for a lot of people. They're used to just like, I get the food, but I don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They prefer it that way. All right. Fiber appears to lower the risk of developing various conditions, including heart disease, diabetes. You guys just got off of Inky's channel. You probably heard he's going to do the 24-hour stream on diabetes. Diabetes is huge. It's connected to pretty much the things I'm about to read. Diverticular disease and constipation. Beneficial role in gut microbiome may produce anti-inflammatory effects that alleviate the chronic inflammation associated with these conditions. That is the end of Article 1. I'm going to start knocking these articles down as I go. What I will do is copy this one and put this in the chat for you guys to have. So make sure you start building up your tabs there at home so you can have these for later, or copy all of them and email them back to yourself. That's what I used to do. All right, so now you have that article, and we got another more simpler article, which is which type of fiber is best for chronic constipation. New research may have an answer. The picture that you are seeing right here is psyllium being put into water. The psyllium husk portions being put into water. Certain types of fiber may be more effective than others in alleviating constipation and improving stool consistency. New research shows. The meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in July found that psyllium fiber specifically was most effective in providing relief from chronic constipation. Told you guys, it's the primary one I use. I use psyllium husk. That's my choice, but that's the one that I primarily use, right? It was specifically most effective in providing relief from chronic constipation, namely in increasing stool frequency and decreasing straining. These are huge. If you guys are at that point, there's supposed to be one bowel movement, as you usually look at the way babies do things. With babies, there's a bowel movement after every meal. And there's, of course, gapping between the meals, meaning they don't eat one thing and jump to another and jump to another and jump to another. You kind of gap it out, right? There's nice amounts of time to digest the food before the next meal comes in. If you guys find that you're eating 2 and 3 meals a day and you're going to the bathroom once every 3 days, every 2 days, every 4 days, you're getting into the cancer territory. You're not supposed to be going days, because imagine you're putting a lot of meals in and you're kind of going to the bathroom, maybe getting 1 or 2 out. That's not a good look. Over time, obviously, that's going to stack up in your digestive tract and start to put pressures on the walls and upstreaming, as I like to call it, meaning it's backing up so much, it's reaching back into areas it should not be, and it's not getting out of the areas it should get out of. So that's going to cause more problems in terms of your digestion. So you don't want that to be an issue, okay? So remember, you should be having 1, 2, 3 bowel movements a day. We're not just talking about peeing here. The more of them that you have after your meals, not the more of them, so to speak, but if you eat a meal and a few hours later you're having a bowel movement and that's a regular thing, you're doing pretty good in terms of the health of your digestive tract and your colon. All right. This led researchers to suggest psyllium as the first line strategy for treating chronic constipation. Pectin, another type of fiber, which may provide chronic constipation relief. It may provide chronic constipation relief. But researchers warn that the data for this type of fiber wasn't quite robust enough to say for sure. The main takeaway is that not all fiber is created equal. Some fibers are more effective overall, and some fibers improve specific aspects of constipation, such as straining or stool frequency, more than others. Okay? So, yeah, I wanted to bring that article in just specifically for that point. Let me see, they even got amounts here. Psyllium supplements also significantly improve stool consistency, as did inulin-type fructans. The high fiber dose of more than 10 grams per day also greatly improves stool consistency, as gauged by Bristol Stool Form Scale. All right. Add more fiber to your diet. All right, let me copy that. Let me drop that in the chat for you guys, so you'll have that one too. Now that's in the chat. All right, you guys are stacking them up, right? What was he saying about corn and cancer? If that was earlier today, I didn't catch that whole stream. No, I don't remember what connects corn and cancer. B vitamin depletion and corn intake. Most of the corn I get, the true original form of corn is called Teosinte. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Teosinte. All right, here we go. Look, they even got the videos of Dr. Sebi talking about it. Wild corn, Teosinte, right? Let's go to Britannica. Teosinte, any of 4 species of tall, stout grasses in the genus Zea of the family Poaceae. Teosintes are native to Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Honduras is getting mad play, right? So, you know that's where Dr. Sebi was hanging out at. So, there you go, right? Domesticated corn or maize was derived from Ballast Teosinte of southern Mexico in pre-Columbian times more than 6,000 years ago. They are solitary or single-stalked annuals or spreading perennials. Annual species strongly resemble domesticated corn in their large terminal plum-like made inflorescences, the tassels. However, they differ in their small 5 to 12-seeded female ears, which are hidden in clusters in the leaf axils. Teosintes have a high resistance to both viral and fungal diseases of corn, as well as corn insect pests. Okay? So there's some information about Teosinte, okay? Yeah, Victor, I'm sure Victor would be able to mention it because he's almost a complete carbon copy of his dad. Whereas when you're trying to see, you're studying the Sebi methods, you go through Victor Bowman because he's carbon copying his dad directly and following up with where his dad left off. When you're talking about what Dr. Inky does, you're talking about someone who stacks information, and this is where the term "we stand on the shoulders of our elders" come from. So he will take the information and not try and make somebody the god over the information, but use the framework of the information to build upon it to get a faster and better result from the information that was given. So you got to remember, you got to take things in the way that they're used. Dr. Sebi knew how to get the results that he was trying to get from what he did. He avoided certain things. Dr. Inky found out why not to avoid certain things and certain things that Dr. Sebi was right about to avoid, or he expounded on the information. So it's not about finding somebody to just say, I'm going to lock on because this person got so many people who love them and they got great, and I just love what they say, and the personality thing. You take the information, you study the information. All of us are different. There's different cultures mixing with different people. So what one person gets is not a guarantee of what another person will get. There are some things that heal people another person is allergic to. Then what? You see what I mean? So you got to do your due diligence because of all the mixing that we're doing in the culture. There was a time where you were in your land, another person was in their land, and you could work within that land because your genetic structure was kind of like the foundation of it is built for that land. But when you start mixing people, you get new foundations. It's almost like I can eat a little bit of food from here and here, but if I try and act like I belong here and eat all the food from there, some of it I'm having trouble with. So you get all this mixture, right? Is Teosinte good for muscle mass? Don't know. Like I said, that's a deeper question I wouldn't be able to ask. I've never actually held the original Teosinte that Dr. Sebi was talking about. I only know what it looks like because they have pictures of it. So if you take like one row of the corn that we're used to, that's kind of what you got. But that's the original form. But if someone talks to me about muscle mass, It's about the protein structured meals or the amino acid structured meals. So you eat enough amino acids, you wind up getting a full, well-rounded stacking of amino acids, so to speak, so your body can put together the proteins you need in the proper amounts to make your body be able to actually get bigger. Now, remember, since we're talking about that, we fall in love, like you see, I got the Arnold on the screen. Like everybody knows what Arnold is known for, big body aesthetics. Like his body shape was so. When you look at the ratio of this body part to that body part, it was so well done, and he knew how to pose and show it off. The human body does things for efficiency. That's the reason that it doesn't naturally just bulk itself up. Now, you can be born with a bulkier frame. Now, generally why that happens is because the person tends to have a more, their body is more partial to colder climates. So when you have a shorter, thicker stature and your hair falls down and you got lighter skin, the lighter skin is because there's not a lot of sunlight in that climate. So the body does not produce more resources for stepping down UV radiation because that body's information for its genetics says there's not a lot of sunlight and UV radiation around. So it's not going to spend a lot of its time putting resources towards melanin-based substances in order to step down UV radiation, which would be skin, right? We're not talking about neuromelanin and all. We're talking about skin, all right? You're standing in the sun. You need something to step down the radiation so your body can use it and dole the energy back out. Warm climate people. Cold climate people, extremities need to be protected. Hair falls down because it can cover a lot of the face. It can cover the ears, it can cover the neck, and it can cover parts of the chest, especially along the heart region. That is what's going to keep a person from freezing to death to an extent. So the body builds up defenses to survive in cold locations. The thicker body stature is so that the cold can't reach the important internal organs and important parts so quickly. That's what the thicker stature is for. Also, a real chilly wind, and if you got real chilly wind and a lot of wind blowing, you want to be closer to the ground and thicker because that helps you hold your ground better. So that is the outside genetic components of a person who be more of the Caucasian side of things. Because remember, the magic happens in the body based on where your body comes from. All right. So now we move that over to the warmer climate. Everything reaches towards the sun. Everything is sun-based. We know that if the body is electric, the body is based on light. The sun is light. The sun creates UV adherence, or I don't know if I want to use the word adherence, but the UV strikes causes a friction-like activity, very strong. If you have the melanin, your body can grab it, step it down, convert it into actually energy sources. If the body can receive heavy electrical conductors, it will be made of heavy electrical conductors. Hence, melanin is made through copper channels. Copper is a heavy conductor. So being that copper is a heavy conductor, aka, or I believe semiconductor, you have to look at things that are electric based, like the fact that your hair curls up and reaches towards the sun. It reaches towards the light. The curling in electrical theory increases amperage, the strength of the signal, right? So curling, reaching towards the sky, it's not falling down trying to cover the extremities because you're hot. Why would I cover something up if I'm hot? It's going to make me sweat more. It's going to heat the body up more. You need to stay in a semi-cooled state. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. The biochemistry fits the location. When you start mixing people, you cause problems for yourself. There's a new land of study that must be done now. Because one parent came from warm, one came from hot, or one came from mixed, and the other came from temperate. You wind up with these issues where now your body you can't pick one side or the other because you created a new track. And now here we are, years after all the mixing. So it's all kinds of stuff mixing with all kinds of stuff. You don't know what the hell to eat because you have to start the track all over again. You have to do study for yourself. Know thyself. Okay? What else? Okay, just throwing it out there. Don't think I said hi to you too. BMST Group Inc. in the building. What's going on? Yeah, no problem. Article links. Always got to have the article links, right? All right. So enough with the body type. I wanted to jump in, get you guys some Tao Sente real quick. We just finished up the fiber portion. While we are here, any questions about the fiber part? About I didn't really say the word cleansing or the word detoxing. I guess I should expound a little bit more on that, right? Cleansing, you're talking about flushing things out. These are the things that tend to just be sitting there, right? You have dirty water in the body. Maybe you eat a lot of processed foods. You eat a lot of junk food. So when you bring anything in your body, the waters in your body are comprised of a lot of different things that don't, it's just waste material, right? You got a lot sitting in your stomach, sitting near your colon, backing up inside of there, a lot of fecal matter, and it becomes mucoid plaque when it sits too long. It becomes harder to get rid of. Cleansing flushes the lymph nodes, flushes the digestive tract. That's what you're doing when you cleanse. These are the things that are usually in the water and blood channels. You can just kind of cycle yourself and get them out. Cycle meaning if I spent a month eating bad stuff and I packed up 16 days worth of bowel movement and necessary water to push those things out, now I'm going through a cleansing phase at that point. I'm making it simple for you guys and not too sciencey, but these are things that I can sweat, drink a lot of water, eat a lot of fruit, things that are heavy, water-based, and have good mineral content and fiber, pushing things out of the liquid channels, veins, capillaries, running through the kidneys, running through the digestive tract, coming through the mouth canal. You're flushing things out over time and not putting bad things in while doing it. You're cleansing yourself. A lot of water flushes out the lymph system. The lymph system is used to help collect a lot of the debris we have, package it up so that you can pee or go to the bathroom and get it out. So that's usually the cleansing aspect. Detoxification, you can get things like iron being pushed into the tissues, too much aluminum from, deodorants and things like that being used. Those are toxification matters. Usually some chemistry is involved in pushing toxins out. Your body can do some detoxification. Generally, fasting can help do a lot of it, but you need to be able to fast for a nice period of time. But it's usually chemistry to chemistry which helps detoxify. It's kind of like using cilantro to get rid of aluminum. You're helping to detoxify when you do that. Toxification is when you have a lot of metals and very bad chemicals sitting in your body in a certain space, toxifying that space. It's like having a good example is having metal fillings, mercury. It's just sitting there, and as it erodes over time, it goes into your bloodstream, but it's just sitting there. It's toxifying you. So that's a toxin that can be removed. I mean, there's probably something that will dissolve mercury. I'm not a chemistry major, right? Like I don't do poison control. And, be really nice if somebody in the community would handle poison control. Nobody goes that deep. At least I don't know anybody who's a poison control expert in our community. People know biochemistry, biology, virology. I don't see no poison control person. Takes a lot of math, a lot of study, but it's out there for anybody who wants to be that expert. That's a lane you can get into. Imagine being in a house and somebody takes something down by accident and you know how to sniff the fumes, use pH strips to determine what something is, vials and all kinds of stuff, and can figure out different chemical concoctions. You can even come up with brand new formulas easily because you know how chemistry works together. So keep that in mind. We could definitely use that in the community. All right. So I think we've gone over all of the health stuff. Let's get into something that I don't know if a lot of people here find this, if this is a big deal to people or not. I know it is out there in the world. I don't know if it is in our community. I don't hear too many people talk about student loans, but the information got quite confusing because there's too much going on. So I figured I would go over this because it was a question that was asked. Although outside, I figured I would go over it because we're talking about cleaning out, right? Cleaning up. So we're also going to see what's up with possibly cleaning up some of the financial matters, and student loans tends to be a very difficult one. So I figure I'll switch gears right now and let's get into this. So I'm going to talk about what I ran into, and then I'll go through the articles. I won't read every word on all of them, but I will go through the articles so you guys will know what's out there, and the articles actually help answer some of the questions. So where did it all first go wrong? I am a millennial. My graduation from high school was in 2000. So I'm the one that everyone thinks that avocado toast is our thing, and we feel entitled to everything and all that stuff. But what I like to call us is no more bullshit generation. We are the transition point between the older generation, baby boomers and greatest generations, and the newer generations, where if you guys look at the newer generations, they do things differently. The sagging pants is a normal thing. The Kanye style is a normal thing. We got the LGBTQ movement is now in swing, right? They have a different personality for their generation. They are not dumb. A lot of the information that we're actually trying to teach them, they operate, their attitude operates off of a greater body of information that many of them may not know, but they have certain basics down where they kind of flag off things that we kind of like as millennials kind of fought for. So where we talk about, you know, you might see people wearing those shirts now that says, I'm not my ancestors, you know, I'm, you know, with the whole slavery thing. That's not founded on good information, because that assumes that the ancestors just took it. They don't know about the ones who fought and did stuff like that. So they may have the right mindset in terms of fighting and coming together and building a greater future, but sometimes it's missing information because they have like a really good shell, but no meat inside of that shell, so to speak. Okay? So I'm explaining from that point of view, right? When I went into college, everyone was talking about you had to go to college in order to get a good job. You got to get a degree and all this stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm in there, right? I'm in there. Now, I wasn't so gullible to think that any degree would work. So I didn't go in with that mentality. It's probably because of me being an artist. I was already making money doing artwork. So I wasn't going to go to school and get a degree in fine art because I already knew how to make money. I don't need a degree for that. And I can make more than the average job paid for it anyway. Because there's very few jobs that I knew that paid an artist a lot of money. You were usually in that $7 to $13 range, and you kind of get stuck there. So, and to make it worse, you get all this art pulled out of you. Like, they want you to do multiple things in a day most of the time. That's not really my stride. So I figure graphic design. That's the futuristic form of what I do. Now, when I went into college in 2000, the graphic design major was in high demand. Here's the issue. When I got out, it wasn't. It was saturated. I had networking connections, but the guys I had networking connections to, their families own graphic design firms and created positions for them. That's what they were able to get done. I didn't have that option. I don't have a family that owns a graphic design firm. So for me, it's the classic, write the resume and go ahead and do what you got to do, right? So I get out of college, 2005. There is nobody who will hire me without me having 3 to 10 years experience in graphic design, which to me was BS. So I wound up working for a health insurance company, right? And I hated it. You talk about that was the time where I went in college at 155. I came out 195, solid muscle. I'm 5'10". I could dunk, run, all kinds of stuff. I ate well. I mean, I ate plenty of food, like calories. I was eating, and I was playing like 4 games of basketball a day and going to the gym after. I was burning the hell out of it. I was burning like an athlete. So I was solid when I came out of college. I was 195, probably in the 8 to 10% muscle category. Pretty good, just doing it on my own without knowing half the information I know now. All right? So, of course, a year after you leave college, they tell you got to start paying back your student loans. Now, here's the thing. When I left college, they were harping on consolidating your college loans because they said the interest rates were going to get higher if you didn't, you know, in the means of like 5 and 6%. They weren't lying. It did do that. So that's number one, right? The problem was when I consolidated, the one everyone was consolidating to, which for me was AES, American Education Services, I consolidated out of federal. That's a problem now. This is years later. In order to get some of these programs that they got going on, you have to have a federal student loan. It can't be privatized or something outside of the body of federal loan family. Okay? That's number 2. All right? So let's move forward from there. Let's go to right now. The platform was founded on being able to forgive $10,000 of student loan debt, right? Now, Kamala Harris kind of messed this thing up because when I didn't see too many news stations or anybody call it out, but it was clear as day. She literally stood on a podium and said, hey, Biden's going to forgive $10,000 of your student loans. That's what you want. At that time, his website did not say that. What it was doing was it was correcting problems from a system that was put in through George Bush and Obama. Because this was how it worked. These already existed. Remember, these are things that already existed. If you were military, if you worked for a federal company, if you worked for a nonprofit that was approved by the government, and you were able to get, or if you were a teacher, you were able to get, I believe it was $10,000 removed from your student loans per year. Check me on that. But it was in there along those lines. You got student loan forgiveness. I believe it was $10,000 a year when you did a certain amount of hours in an accredited institution. Okay? What was happening was, between them and the people who were low income, that promise was not being fulfilled. People were not getting their just due. And it could be paperwork sometimes, but in general, that was not being fulfilled because of some form of red tape or miscommunication or whatever. Then came the low income forgiveness program, where originally it was like you had to do like 20 years of straight payments, and then they would forgive the rest of your loans. They needed to fulfill a promise on that. That was what it was all about when the election started. The problem was all this information about forgiving $10,000 of student loan debt kept ringing in people's ears. Because remember, when you're doing politics, when you kick something out there, Trump knew it best. Say something over and over again, and people are going to take it as the truth, even if it's not, because you're just repeating it a whole lot. So everyone thought that they were going to get $10,000 off. So, like I said, with this new generation, it was a good thing because they like, fuck all them extra details. They just on heels like, nah, I'm trying to get that $10,000. And as millennials, people like me, we ain't even trying to vote if you talking shit and you not. Because I'm the type where it's like, it's got to be in the hand. Y'all like to make promises and not put things in people's hands. And you like to play politics where you give me one thing based on something else you fucked up. And in most cases, they'll fuck something else up trying to correct something that, like, let me give you an example. I told you I had to consolidate my loans. Otherwise, I was going to get hit with a higher percentage rate, right? But dig this. Let's say you get hit, let's say your loans are $75,000. You get hit with that extra interest rate because you didn't consolidate. You're still federal. You consolidate. And now here we are, 2005, we're about 17 years later, right? We're about 17 years later. Now they say we're going to remove 10 grand. You already lost that on the interest rate. You see what I mean? So, I mean, what the hell? You're making up partially for something you already fucked up. So that doesn't, you see, from my perspective, knowing that, it's like, come on, man. If you can get that 10 grand off, it's just due, right? Like, yes, give me that. Like, I'm happy for those who are getting it. But just understand, right? You're bullshitting. Like, that's step number one. Now, let's take into account, let's move it forward, right? So now you have the nonprofits that are approved, the government programs, federal type stuff, and teachers, which are usually under nonprofits anyway. Those people are supposed to be getting their forgiveness for all these years. It didn't happen. He ran the race based on the fact that he was going to correct those matters, but their key wording when they were doing their promoting was not really surrounding the details behind it. It was just a whole lot of 10K, 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 forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. And those are key words that make you say, vote for that guy. He's going to do that, and we're going to hold him to the fire to do this and that, right? That's where you got all that stuff coming from, right? So what we're going to do from there is, now COVID comes along. When that comes along, they put people's student loans on hold. There's two standards for that. If you're not a federal program and you put it on hold, which would be forbearance, your interest accrues. And let me be first to tell you that over a nice enough period of time, the interest accrual will make your loans higher than when they started. So that's something that you should understand. That's a trap right there. Biden was a part of a selective committee that actually made it so that when you go bankrupt, you can't get rid of student loans. So he was a part of that too. So just keep that in mind. So here we are today. What was on the table prior to this month? Prior to this month, it was about that time, right? You got to make do on your plans. So he set it up so that during COVID, nobody had to pay for their student loans. And as of right now, I think he pushed it back for the 5th time. It's going to December 31st now. So you can hold off payments till December 31st so you can figure out how you're going to pay and do all this and do all that. Those who did the low income program and they were federal, okay? They had to be federal loans. if you can prove that you did the 120 payments, because Biden changed it. It was 20 years at one point. They switched it to 120 payments straight. If you completed the 120 payments and your loans weren't forgiven, there's paperwork out there for you to file. And if you file that paperwork, they will forgive your loans. Number two, there's another program. There are colleges that made promises, institutions and colleges that made promises that you would get a very good, lucrative paying job had you graduated with their degree. They didn't maintain the promises. They got sued. And there is a huge list of colleges that are on there. None of them are mine, and they're not, from what I've seen, they're none of the really popular ones. But if you went to those, forgiven. They got knocked them loans out. So if you're in that specific category, you get them knocked out. So your 120 income sensitive repayment plan, and those who were who went to those colleges where they made the promise and didn't fulfill, those are two cases where you can get forgiven. So those are two, right? Now, the other one, whether the entire thing is forgiven or partial, depends on whether you've been on those federal programs like military, teacher, nonprofit, federal government locations. Those will get a lot of your money. If you meet those qualifications, that will get you forgiven. That's number three. Okay? So those are your three categories. What's been talked about for the past month is fourth category, which is this new one that's being talked about, which is you can get 10 broad scale, so to speak, quote unquote, 10 grand to 20 grand will be forgiven. Who's included in that? Number one, again, you must be federal. Your loans must be federal, not private. And I don't think, I forgot which ones, like Perkins or something like that. There's certain, I'm going to read it in the article, but there's certain things that are not included, but it must be federal. That we know. It must be a federal loan program that is forgiven. 10 grand standard, 20 grand if you're a Pell Grant recipient. Why? Because that had to do with low income. So they'll add on another 10 grand if you're a Pell Grant recipient. But it must be federal. I'm going to keep reiterating that it must be a federal loan. Now, what about people in my position? My issue is when I consolidated out, I didn't consolidate necessarily to private. I consolidated in the middle. There are companies that are third party subsidiary, like watchers, so to speak, managers of federal loans. The part that I'm trying to get down right now is, which I think is possible, is if you're under one of those third party subsidiaries, you can move your loan around if you contact American Education. I mean, there's a website for it, like studentaid.gov or something like that, which is, you can't really check too much today because they're doing maintenance, so you won't be able to do much today. But studentaid.gov, you can get details on there. You may be able to move out of third-party subsidiary and back into federal status. And by being in federal status, that would possibly make me included in it. So that's where I stand. Things that I have to go figure out for myself is if I can transfer back into federal and perhaps get that forgiveness. But I got to watch out for things like what's the payment plan, what's the percentage rate, because student loans eat a chunk of life up. There are people I know who, they got out of college when they were 23 and they paid up until they were 60. So, and some of them actually had a decent paying job, just not enough to really cover that deficit. So, places like Helder, Divide, places like that. So, let's go into the articles to back up what it is that I'm saying so you guys get some idea of what's going on. Student loan forgiveness, how to get approved. So there's more up top, but I'm starting from like the parts that matter, right? Despite the high denial rate for student loan forgiveness, there are multiple common mistakes that student loan borrowers make when seeking public service loan forgiveness. Service loan, PSLF. Okay, you guys probably saw that abbreviation if you've been researching. Here are some common mistakes you can avoid. This is painfully obvious, but incomplete or inaccurate paperwork is enough for you to be rejected for student loan forgiveness. Examples include submitting partial paperwork, material typos, missing paperwork, and missing dates. How to get improved? Your employer must sign your employment certification form, so make sure whoever signs the document is an authorized signatory, not simply your coworker. Okay? The wrong type of student loan. There are multiple stories of student loan borrowers who believe they meet all the requirements and diligently work for a public service loan employer, only to find out their student loan doesn't qualify. This may be due to not realizing that accrual requirements or receiving incorrect information from their student loan servicer. Corny, right? Incorrect information from your student loan servicer. For example, only direct loans qualify for student loan forgiveness. This means that private loans, Perkins loans, and FFELP loans do not qualify for student loan forgiveness. See? Details. These things aren't mentioned when they're pop flying. Mika in the building, what's going on? When they're pop flying on the news about millions of people being forgiven. Remember, it's punchlines to get you reelected. It's easy to use the word millions until we look at the total pool of people with problems and then ask what's the percentage of total people with loans. So you use the number that sounds bigger and it makes you look better. Okay? Now, again, I don't want people thinking, because some people think because you talk this way that you're here to hate on people getting forgiveness. I want the people who are supposed to get forgiveness to get forgiveness. But I'm also showing how it can be fucked up when you fell into the low income category and the semantics that they're playing puts you in the middle and you're like, well, damn, I don't get nothing. I'm damn near just like them, but I don't get nothing, right? But let's keep going. How to get approved. If you have FFELP loans, for example, consolidate your FFELP loans into a direct consolidation loan. This will make your student loans eligible for student loan forgiveness, and this process can be completed through the U.S. Department of Education. All right? Another category, wrong student loan repayment. To be eligible for student loan forgiveness, you must be enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan. Many student loan borrowers miss this important requirement and instead chose any student loan repayment plan. Income-driven repayment plans include income-based repayment, or IBR, or revised pay-as-you-earn, repayee, for example. Contact your student loan servicer to ensure that you are enrolled before you pursue public loan service forgiveness. How to get approved. It is not enough to be enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan. You must make at least a majority of your federal student loan payments while enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan. Make sure you meet the requirement and plan accordingly. 4, wrong employer. Never forget this golden rule about public service loan forgiveness. It's your employer, not your role, that qualifies you for public service loan forgiveness. There's a difference. If you work full-time as a teacher in a public school, you would qualify because you work for a qualified public service employer. However, if you work for a private company that counts a state government as a client, that likely would not count. How to get approved. Before you begin your journey for student loan forgiveness, make sure you work for a qualified public service or nonprofit employer. Don't guess that your employer qualifies. You can use the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Help Tool to determine if they're eligible. If you're uncertain that you qualify or simply don't expect certain loan cancellation, then you're not alone. That's why it's essential to understand all your options. All right, here are some popular ways to save money with your student loans: refinancing, income-driven repayment plans, and public service loan forgiveness. It's the end of that article. If you are under AES like I am, this is the website where you find out basically the most common sense things that I knew I didn't apply for, but different programs and a chart telling you whether you qualify or not, right? Program teacher loan forgiveness. You may qualify if and how it works. Loan discharge. See? And they got the charts going next to it. Total and permanent disability. Disability, I knew about that one, yeah. And PSLF, Public Service Loan Forgiveness. These are a lot of the categories that were just mentioned. And here's that website I was talking about, studentaid.gov, PSLF waiver. I showed this one just for those who are under AES as like a quick chart, right? Yeah, definitely see if you qualify. Because like I said, the categories are simple if you kind of I'm trying to help narrow down the scope. And I'm going to explain the scope of it at the end and make it simple. But I spoke about it, my experience, and now I'm going through the different pieces, so to speak, and then we'll go from there. So of course it led me to looking this part up. Are AES, or American Education Student Loans, federal or private? This is where you guys this article is where what I was explaining to you guys about the middleman, this explains it. AES services federal student loans made under the Federal Family Education Loan Program. See how weird that is? Made under Federal Family Education Loan Program, or FFEL. So they're servicing loans made under a federal program. And private student loans for various entities, which includes Colorado Student Loan Trust, Gold Financial, Key Bank, and National Collegiate Student Loan Trust, or NCT. Loans made under FFEL program were often made by private lenders like SunTrust Bank or PNC Bank. Although the loans were made by banks and not the Department of Education, those loans are federal student loans. Got that? I'll read it again. Loans made under FFEL program were often made by private lenders like SunTrust Bank or PNC Bank. Although the loans were made by banks, hence they just said they were private, and not the Department of Education, those loans are federal student loans. Okay? Got to catch the details, right? If you're wondering whether your AES student loans are federal or private, the best way to find out is to check your account with the Federal Student Aid website, studentaid.gov. You can check it out, but remember, you can't go today. They're doing maintenance on it. Once logged in, you'll be able to see every federal student loan you borrow. Once logged in, you might have to create an account. Compare that list against your loans with AES. Any student loan listed on AES but not studentaid.gov is a private student loan. AES Federal Student Loan abbreviation. So people who actually had the federal loans that got consolidated: Stafford, unsubsidized Stafford, consolidation, subsidized consolidation, unsubsidized consolidation, subsidized spousal consolidation, unsubsidized spousal consolidation, STC NFL, regular spousal consolidation, supplemental loan for students, and guaranteed student loan, GSL. What American Services, Education Services can help you do. In addition to maintaining your online account where you can request tax forms, loan balance payoff letters, and billing and interest statements, AES can help you explore repayment options like lowering monthly payments, qualifying for student loan forgiveness, removing a cosigner, temporarily pausing payments like deferments and forbearances. What they can't help you do, AES, they cannot help you do: consolidate student loans. Consolidation process turns FFEL and Perkins loans into a direct consolidation loan owned by the Department of Education. You can consolidate your loans for free at studentaid.gov. They do not negotiate student loan settlements. Unfortunately, AES won't waive any of the interest that's been added to your account or agree to settle your student loan debt for the original amount or less if you pay the loan balance in full today. You have to default on student loans before you can negotiate a settlement. When you default, your account will be moved from AES to a collection agency. At this point, you should be able to negotiate the settlement. AES does not refinance loans for a lower interest rate. If you have a good income and a blemish-free credit report, student loan refinancing may allow you to get a new loan with a more extended repayment period, better loan terms, and a lower interest rate. Plus, some private lenders are allowing you to refinance and maintain many of the federal benefits you would lose if you refinance student loans. All right. Let me see. Do AES loans qualify for loan forgiveness? The Federal Student Loan Service by AES may be eligible for the following student loan forgiveness programs: closed school discharge, wipes out any balances for student loan borrowers who attended a school that closed while they were in attendance or shortly after they left. Income-driven repayment, promises to discharge your remaining debt after making 25 years of payments under one of the IDR payment plans, like income-based repayment plan. Now remember, this is through AES, so it says 25 years, okay? There's another one where it mentioned 20 years, or 120 payments was the adjustment that Biden made, which is probably this next one. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness, that's the one I'm talking about, forgives the balance owed on direct loans if you work full-time for a government or nonprofit entity that qualifies, right, and make 120 qualifying payments. If you have federal loans with AES, you will likely need to apply for student loan consolidation, meaning consolidate out of it to qualify for PSLF for a limited time. The U.S. Department of Education is giving borrowers credit for payments made before the consolidation. Okay? So basically, if you put yourself into an income repayment plan, income sensitive one, something like that, right? It says here, well, in fact, I'm sorry. If you owed on direct loans, if you work full-time for a government or nonprofit entity and make 120 qualifying payments. So basically, if you did not consolidate into the program that allows you to do that, but you started making qualifying payments under government or nonprofit entity, then what'll happen is they will count those payments towards it if you enroll now. Okay, you consolidate and enroll now. All the payments you made before you enrolled will be lined up, and if it hits 120, you'll be forgiven. Teacher loan forgiveness allows teachers working in Title I schools to eliminate up to $18,500 of federal student loan debt after 5 years. And total and permanent disability. That's kind of self-explanatory, but it cancels your entire student loan debt if a medical doctor or SSA/VA determine that medical issues prevent you from working. Can AES student loans be forgiven? The private student loans AES services are not eligible for loan forgiveness, but the federal student loans its services can be forgiven under different programs offered by the Department of Education, which means under AES, consolidate back out of AES into the federal program, then you qualify if you meet the guidelines for the one you're trying to qualify for. Okay? The next one is kind of self-explanatory. Are my loans stuck with AES? Not necessarily. Okay? So this one has a lot of data. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. Bring that back up right here and paste it up. That's a long link too. So there you go. I just pasted that in there. Then they got different federal student loan services. Say, will AES be forgiven? This article was written before Biden's new one got put out, but based on what he said, it still includes federal loan, because government can only take care of federal. Private people are private people. They're the ones who are like, yo, if you're going to annul our joints, you're going to forgive our joints out, you got to pay us for it. Federal is the government's own debt, so it's like it can easily get through the paperwork and process of it with no problem because it's its own thing. All right. So there you go, and this is what studentaid.gov looks like if you guys go there and you want to see if you can move out of like a servicer, a third-party servicer, back into a federal loan program and then kind of work it out from there. Make sure you talk with someone about it before you do it, because that is a heavy move to make and not be sure. But see, apply by October 31st to get credit for past periods of repayment that normally would not qualify for PSLF. It says it right there on the website they tell you to go to. So that info connects. Okay. So there you guys have it. So to summarize the entire thing that we just went through, showed you guys the video of me and Moon Rocker hanging out at the bar park, getting the workout in. So go back to the beginning of the video if you guys have not seen that yet. After that, we talked about infrared lighting and its impact on helping the body recover from muscle injuries, bringing cells back together. It's even been shown to help out in the case of cancer. I talked to you guys about possibly finding an infrared sauna, because infrared helps get rid of inflammation and that muscle recovery part that comes afterward. Okay, so we talked about the exercise, the recovery, the importance of exercising. What are you doing with, lifting the heavy weights versus lifting the light weight, and losing weight versus losing body fat. We talked about that. We went over fiber. We talked about the two primary types of fiber. We were talking about insoluble and soluble. Soluble being the one that absorbs water, turning the water into gel, which make digestion go a little bit slower, right? It slows down things like blood sugar spikes and blood pressure spikes and things like that, right? We talked about insoluble fiber, which adds the bulking to the stools, right? And those two types of fiber, insoluble, which absorbs water, soluble, which does not break down, but it bulks the stools so you can pass it, both assisting with the ability to slow down digestion, but have smooth passing of the food, can be broken down to even smaller categories, which I gave you guys the article for that. So you can break the insoluble and soluble downs into different types. Some that you have high, medium, and mild laxative effects on some have very little laxative effects, but they help regulate things and help with slowing digestion and things like that. So we went over that. Then we went over the student loan information, where I was talking about there were 4 different types of programs. There is the one where you make a certain amount of, now remember, the blanket term is federal. You have to have a federal student loan. If it is not federal, you're going to have issues getting forgiveness. So that's primary. Secondary, huge amounts of the forgiveness apply to people who are teachers, some form of federal or government worker like military or work for a qualified government program, or qualified nonprofit. Income sensitive people who got on income sensitive repayment plans, who got on the right one under federal programs. And, you know, you guys got to go back in the video or look at the articles I sent. But we're talking 25 years of straight payments, 20 years of straight payments, depending on the program, or 120 payments straight is what will qualify you. If you don't have a federal loan, you may be in a position where you can consolidate back into your federal loan status because your loan is being serviced by a third party who is not federal. Okay? So you may be able to take your non-federalized loan, consolidate it back into the federal state, then sign up for one of the programs and get forgiveness through it that way. That's the gist of the whole thing. So the fourth version that came out is the one Biden is talking about this month, that he said he would talk about later this month. You can get $10,000 or $20,000 forgiven on your student loans, depending on if you fall into the federal student loan category. If you have a federal student loan and you are below $125,000 a year, I think that's combined income, then you can get your $10,000 forgiven. If one of your payments, if you qualify for the Pell grant, I believe, which is a low income program, then Biden ups the amount you can have forgiven to $20,000 across your student loans. And last, I spent a lot of time talking about AES, which is American Education Services, which is what I'm through. That is a third party servicer for the federal student loans that I had. And as long as that consolidation came in from a federal program, I might be able to transfer my loans back off of the servicer into their original forms back through studentaid.gov. I might be able to transfer back into a federal status, apply for the program, and perhaps get the forgiveness of $10,000 or $20,000 depending on, right? So that is the run back in a nutshell of everything that we talked about here today. That is pretty much it for me at the moment. I'll allow a few minutes if you guys have any questions about anything I spoke about. And as usual, if you, looking at the screen right now, I have it right there at the bottom of the screen. For those who want to send something to the Cash App, it's Cash App Marvin Burwell. Also, this is a backup channel for Dr. Inky's page. I could use it for anyone else too who may want to come in. They got some information they want to speak or whatever, that's fine. But currently it's a backup page for Dr. Inky when I go live with him. Just this catch up of information. The information that is expressed from people who come onto this channel is not always my point of view. I just give people a chance to express themselves through the channel. So that doesn't make it my point of view. It just gives people a home, so to speak, because I believe sharing information is important. So that's one of the ways it gets done. Not everyone's going to agree with the information shared, but it doesn't necessarily mean it represents my point of view. Second thing is, I'm not a medical doctor. The doc is he is a doctor of naturopathic medicine, so he has the right to speak on behalf as a doctor of such. I do not. I am a certified calisthenics specialist, so I can talk heavily about training your body, body fat percentages, weight, some things on nutrition, things like that. But I do know a lot about biology and biochemistry and anatomy and physiology. So those things I do have the ability to talk about, not from the stance of a doctor, but you can come here and get some education. I'm very good at consolidating information and guiding you in a proper direction to do your study and information, and even help out narrow your focus for some of the things you want to do. So I am very good for that. I am naturally an artist. That is what I do. I like to make things look pretty. I like to enjoy myself. I like basketball and bowling and video games, right? Urban Nerds Gamer. Helping out the community youth. I'm a very heavy team player. So you notice a lot of stuff I do is family oriented. I like to partner up and hang out and do a lot of cool stuff with different people, okay? My Instagram is there. I do have more than one Instagram. I also manage the Urban Nerds Worldwide Instagram, and I have a photography page on Instagram, which is Marvin Burwell Photography, for those who want to see a lot of the very business-based and high-quality photographs that I take. You'll find it on Instagram in that location, at Marvin Burwell Photography. But for the sake of, this is a health channel. Cash App is $ Marvin Burwell at the bottom of the screen, and where it says Graham, that is my Instagram account. If anything happens to this YouTube account for whatever reason, one of the places you can still find where I'm at is on Instagram, and you can find out what's going on and what's happening. All right, so that's that. I don't see anybody has put any questions into the chat. So I think we got all the information concerning this subject. Again, that you kind of got an idea of why I called this live stream Cleanup, because we work out the body to help clean the body out. We get the fiber and stuff to cleanse and help clean the body out. We fasting because fasting helps give the body time to clean itself out. We talk about the student loans because we might want to clean some of that debt out, and I figured people could use help for that. So that's why all of these things got combined. And I appreciate you guys. Love you guys for coming out. As always, thanks for coming through. And whenever I travel, you will know where I'm headed to. And if I just happen to be in a location where you guys are at, I will come down, visit. We can work out, hang out, do whatever, find out what's going on in your neck of the woods.